VarmaGate. Varmint Gate. Congratulations to Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder. Definitely the story of his life, I would say, that he's broken here. This is the Dr. J. Varma guy who was having sex parties. There's going to be a press conference here. So let's see if they'll let me in. I doubt it, but we'll try it.
I figured it out, but
Oh, I shouldn't have started rolling. I guess they might make me take this all off. So I can't even go in.
Show my card and I click the wall.
Because I'm not going to be able to take this stuff off. Let's see what they say. Maybe I can. You know, officer, I'm sorry. I started rolling this. If and I stop it, it's going to end. Can you pat me down or check me somehow? This is all just...
No, I can't do that.
Can't do that.
Because I gotta see everything.
But if I take all this, what's that?
You get everything on a beach.
No, I know, but I got no weapons. You could search me in any way.
If it beeps, though.
It's just phones, batteries.
I need to take all that out, but you can still rolling. But I need to take. You need to take all that out.
Okay, no problem. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So here's what we got: microphone, battery,
Okay.
and that's it. Is that good?
Yeah.
Thank you, officer. I appreciate it. There we go. Wonderful. Wow. I can't believe it. Today might be my day. Look at that. Thank goodness. Now somebody in here recognized me.
What's up, Jason?
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I appreciate your work, man.
Thank you. What's your name?
Christopher Leon Johnson.
How can people find you?
CHRISLEJOHNYC. CHRISLEJOHNYC.
Thanks for calling me over, man.
Yeah,
You
no
inspired me to be nice to the cops, and they let me in.
Yeah, like you're to say, yo, you're here for the event, and that's it. But the reason because when it gets to a certain capacity, they don't gonna let people in press passes. So I think you should get it. You should get it.
They won't give it to me. The cops know who I am. You know, they're trying to get me killed by
me.
Tren de Aragua.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So shout out to Jason Goodman. Watch his content, man. I watch his shit. Thank you for calling out the other person. I'm not gonna say his name. We don't know who that person is on his YouTube shit and his Twitter, little fucking social media.
Thanks, man.
But
Thanks for calling me in.
Thanks for calling
Good to see you.
Thanks for calling that motherfucker out, man.
We'll check out this press conference. Thanks, Chris. See, that's great. So here we go. Inside, this is the first time I've been inside these City Hall, like barricades. I mean, I guess, are we going to see Eric Adams? We'll see. We got some good signs in here. Are you with Crowder?
I am, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
Excellent
much.
work. I'm Jason Goodman.
Jason, good to meet you.
So tell us, how did it all come together?
So we have Mug Club Undercover Unit where we go and we do some undercover work. We don't talk a whole lot about the ins and outs of how that happens, but obviously this person spilled the beans in ways that we could only dream of.
It's really one of the biggest stories with the whole COVID thing to break. Is this the biggest story you would say you guys have broken on Louder with Crowder?
It's right up there. We had some other stories recently that we've broken that have been pretty big, but as far as crossing all party lines, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on this. It is absolutely unconscionable to have somebody setting policy like this. One, that probably doesn't need to be done in the first place, and two, he didn't even believe it to begin with because he broke his own rules.
I mean, he's such a scumbag. He's a doctor and he's having unprotected sex. He's got kids. He's telling us, I couldn't go to the supermarket. This guy's having sex with all kinds of...
Can't have a job, can't send your kids to school.
MDMA? I mean, isn't that illegal? This guy's got to go to jail.
I believe that's illegal.
Got to go to jail.
I mean, you know, I'm not the drug czar, but I don't think.
I hear you. Listen, thanks very much for what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
New York thanks you, and thanks, Steven.
Absolutely.
Really great
We will.
work.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
So here we go. It's an important day. Maybe we'll get a little reckoning here with COVID. I'm feeling pretty good about this press conference. I'm inside. We've spoken to the Crowder crew there. Uh-oh, are we live? I think we are. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, yeah, I got to really shout out to Steven Crowder. You know, I don't know too much about Steven Crowder. I see him, he's in a studio all the time, but this was, as far as I know, a bit of a departure from his normal kind of work. I used to see him with the sign, you know, whatever controversial topic, change my mind. I like that. but he was kind of more comedy, really, right? Like trolling people. This is serious journalism. So we gotta really have a hats off there. Now that's the Teachers for Choice. Those guys were, what's that dude's name? Oh yeah, Michael Caine. I don't want to get into any arguments with anybody today. We just want to watch the press conference. Not louder with Bill Browder. Yeah, better than louder with Bill Browder. Bill Browder, for people who don't know, is an American expatriate scofflaw who absconded to, what, I guess the United Kingdom to avoid paying taxes. Lee Stranahan knows a lot about Bill Browder, but he's down with Mikhail Khodorkovsky. City Hall, look at that. It's strange to me that it's, you just cannot access City Hall too much. I don't understand why it's any different than the courthouse or something. They have cops in there to make sure you don't come in with any kind of weapons and all that. This is an excellent sign. Thank you.
That's a good one.
You guys are from New York?
You're not
Yeah,
fake news,
we're
are you?
sanitation workers.
What appeals is it that they want to drop?
We won in the lower court in October 22.
Wait, they made you guys get vaccines or they fired you because you didn't?
They tried to. We didn't comply, so we were terminated. We sued. We won in New York State Supreme Court.
Congratulations.
October 2022. Full reinstatement with back pay. Starting the next day. City appeals. So all that does is delay. No, so we just had our appeal hearing in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Appellate 2nd Division on April 15th of this year. And now
You guys are underappreciated, right? This city is just covered in shit without your work.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the city's gone. I mean, what's going on now is just insane. But
What about Eric Adams' plan for the future of garbage? It just seems like he bought a bunch of plastic bins, probably from some friend of his.
It's all snapshots.
It's all corruption, right?
It's all crap. Yeah, I'm sure it's.
How long have you been working in the sanitation department?
I was there for, well, if I was still working this October, I would complete 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
But you've lived in New York, I can tell from your voice, the whole life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never has there been a corrupt government like this. The mayor. We're already on number 3 with the police commissioner, and they just investigated him on Friday. He's probably kicking him out today.
He was in there for not even a week, right? Yeah, and he got raided.
Congratulations for taking it to them, man. You guys are going to win.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we already did. They just keep, the appeals.
They just give you the runaround.
I saw, what they say, justice grinds slow, but grinds fine.
And justice delayed is justice denied.
That's 100% true as well.
You guys are going to get it, though. You're going to win.
I'm confident.
Congratulations.
We are righteous. Our fight is righteous. 100%. Thank you.
It is. See, this is good. This is nice. This is a calm event. Everybody here, I think, is pretty aligned. Nobody wants to be forced really to do anything. Certainly not to take a vaccine, which they don't know. And by the way, here we've got a doctor who is telling you to take a vaccine. Meanwhile, he's doing MDMA. I don't even really know what that is or what it does to you. It's some kind of club drug. But the guy's got kids and his patients. So you go to some doctor and he tells you what to do with your health. I don't know. It's like if I see a doctor and he's a big, gigantic fatso, I don't want advice from that doctor. Likewise, I don't want advice from the doctor who's doing MDMA and having sex with all kinds. Plus, he's out. These guys from Crowder, they roped him by like Tinder or something. He was, before Crowder shows up in that video, the guy is on a date, I guess with one of their undercover people. And so, I mean, the dude's just a hound dog. Shouldn't he be doctoring instead of constantly trying to bang women or whoever he's banging? This is absolutely absurd. Oh, look at this. I'm just looking at YouTube here. Jimmy Dore has a funny graphic for this guy. So he's having orgies. I mean, is that doctor recommended? Ecstasy is MDMA, Nate says. I didn't know that. I think that's incredibly dangerous to do, right? I mean, what's even in that? Can't it be anything? You're just buying some dirty... This guy's not a doctor. What is going on? Back in the day, when somebody put on a police uniform, they were enforcing the law. When somebody put on a doctor coat, they were looking out for your health. When somebody became the mayor, they were running the city. Like Rudy Giuliani, I thought was an excellent mayor. People got pissed off that he was closing strip clubs, and that they felt was like oppressive to rights. But the fact of the matter is the strip clubs were run by the mafia, basically. And he didn't exactly close them. He made it that they had to do other businesses. I think he was just putting them under heavier scrutiny. So, I mean, the strip clubs just basically opened steakhouses in there and stuff, and then it was a restaurant. It had to be like something like 40% of the business needed to be from non-strip club stuff. I wonder how much of this doctor's business is non-strip club, sex club craziness. We will not know, I don't think. But this press conference is supposed to get underway at noon. I don't know who is doing it. Maybe, is it going to be Eric Adams? The thing is, this medical czar didn't work for Eric Adams. So he's probably in there saying, thank goodness, finally, a day where somebody else is having a scandal. But we did have the third police commissioner. I'm not sure who the first one was, but you had Ed Caban. He stepped down like maybe September 5th. Then they appointed this guy, Tom Donlin, who is former DHS and former FBI. I don't like that at all. Real federalization of the NYPD, and we know that that's not going to be good for your rights and for states' rights, and it just becomes a national law enforcement thing. Now, I'm also not sure if this is NYPD or maybe marshals or something. Who protects City Hall? Is it NYPD that guards City Hall or marshals? What law enforcement?
City Hall. City Hall.
Special police force for City Hall. That's interesting. Whose electric Mustang is that? Eric Adams? Eric Adams Mustang GT electric? You don't know, somebody, anyway. All right. Well, this is cool. I haven't been to a press conference like this at City Hall. Oh yeah, that's the teachers. So they're pissed because they all got fired. Sanitation workers got fired. Firefighters got fired. Thank you very much. Did you sue, or what happened? What's your story with the vaccine?
We have an ongoing lawsuit right now, the NIFRA lawsuit, named plaintiff with Barry Black and the Alliance for Defending Freedom. And we're still here because there's still people that are out of work, you know. And
everybody loves FDNY. Nobody's got beef with FDNY. You guys are the bravest.
Thanks, bro.
Take care, man. Good luck with the lawsuit.
Am I okay? No, you're good. No, it's okay.
Oh my God, I thought that was Malone up there.
Who's running this thing?
It's not.
Tell Bob that we can't.
I thought it
wise
was.
If they're going to have words we can't put on TV. And
Whoops.
signs.
That's super zoomed in, huh? That guy definitely looks pretty doctory.
You can't run that shit on TV. They gotta block that up. Like, yeah, they can. Yeah, they can't run that.
Got to congratulate Steven Crowder. This is really, really well done. I don't know, anybody's had beef with Steven Crowder, his stock just went through the roof by me. This is a great thing. I don't know if I'm going to get the best sound of this press con. Oh, well, yeah, it might be all right. I should have brought the shotgun microphone. So who is this guy?
Yeah, no, it's just the one prominent. The one on the really big side.
Can't run that on TV.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. important press conference. The Common Sense Caucus is with us today, along with other people. My name is Councilman Bob Holden. We have Councilman Joanne Ariola, Councilmember Christian Palmerado, and well, thank you again. We're here because of the comments that came to light last week by Dr. J. Varma. Now, this was the most distressing, especially to people that lost a lot during the pandemic, during COVID-19. Many of us lost loved ones. Many of us lost their jobs. Many of us lost everything. And we're here today to talk about this, about the comments by Dr. Varma, who was the COVID czar. He was dictating what we should do while he was doing the opposite. And that's what needs to be investigated. But let's talk about personal stories. We're going to bring up a few. I lost my mom to COVID, who was in a nursing home. And it was partly because of Governor Cuomo, I blame, partly, joined by Vicky Palladino, a council member. She got COVID twice in a nursing home. I couldn't see her. She died alone. I could not see her. She got pneumonia, died in a hospital, couldn't see her. This was magnified thousands of times, if not millions of times across our country. But in New York City, we shut down everything. We shut down businesses that never came back. We shut down schools that students could never get that year back. We shut everything down. We lost a lot. And then we find out that a lot of this was made up stuff, apparently, by J. Varma, Dr. Varma. So I have today to talk about a few things, and we have a bunch of stories here today that people who lost their jobs, first responders lost their jobs. They were out there. They weren't working remotely. How many of you guys were working remotely? None. Two. They were not working, most of the first responders, if not all, were not working remotely. They were out there. And what did they get in return? And thanks, later on. They got a pink slip. And we're going to hear from a lot of people today. I want to introduce Councilwoman Joanne Ariola, who will talk about the Braves.
Yeah.
We've also been joined by Common Sense Caucus member, Councilmember Vicky Palladino. I stand here today shoulder to shoulder with our first responders, sanitation workers, teachers, and every city worker who was forced to retire, resigned, or was terminated because of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. This week we learned that Dr. J. Varma, the former New York City senior advisor for public health, admitted to forcing an unnecessary COVID-19 mandate and shut down New York City. The mandate and shutdown was imposed on city workers, school children, businesses, business owners, and all our residents, and has caused irreparable damage. Marriages were ended. Families were torn apart. We have city workers who have been forced to live in homeless shelters. They are waiting on food pantry lines because of the irresponsible choices by Dr. Varma and the de Blasio administration. Dr. Varma stated in one of the exposed videos that everyone who was exposed to the virus was, and I quote, breathed on you or you got it injected into you. It's the same immune response. This statement clearly validates what so many in our city workers, we as elected officials, have been saying. This was forced upon them. They had all been exposed to the worst strain of the virus during the height of the pandemic. They had faced COVID-19 with little to no PPE, while everyone else was mandated to home, watching the news and watching Dr. Varma update us and tell us lies. The recent findings only prove what we have known all along, that the vaccine mandate and COVID shutdowns were unnecessary, But I'm not here to talk about the past any longer. We've been doing that for way too long. We all know what happened. And I'm here to talk to you about the future and the plan as we make as many people whole again as we can. The plan includes New York City workers be reinstated immediately. We must We need outreach through every city agency to contact as many workers as possible to see if they wish to return to New York City workforce. We must make sure that all stays and appeals to lawsuits are immediately lifted. All of the money that we have spent and all of the money that we will save by removing these appeals and withdrawing them could more than compensate for the overtime and loss of compensation wages to these municipal employees. They are owed this. I don't want to hear that the city cannot fund this. We have no problem funding $5 billion a year for people who have entered our city illegally. Yes! Yes! A program to compensate and monitor those who are vaxxed injured. That's something we haven't spoken about yet. Right. There are so many who are vaxxed injured. Even though they were vaccinated, they have long-term COVID and many residual effects that have come to them medically to their bodies. And after action review of COVID policy with the public commenting, we need the public to weigh in on this. We need to make sure it's out on the table once and for all, and that the people of this city are heard. This is a measure that is well overdue. And it's time for everyone to do the right thing, for this administration to do the right thing. During a hearing, someone most rightly said, Mayor Adams, you don't want to end up on the wrong side of history.
Too late for that.
The mandates were then lifted, but we don't have everyone back to work yet. We need the mayor to get on the right side of history with this and understand that the de Blasio administration lied, cost people their livelihoods, cost them their lives, and we want to make sure that those injustices are righted, and we need it to be done immediately. That is why I penned a letter to the mayor's office asking for those very things to happen. Through the years that we've been going through this, I've had the pleasure of meeting the bravest for choice and hearing their stories and knowing what they've been through. And anyone who has heard their testimony along the way or knows of their stories through the media telling their stories could never, ever, ever think that they don't deserve the right to come back to work. The job that they love to do, the job that they ought to do during the COVID-19 shutdown, and the lives that they saved without the proper PPE, only to be shunned after the mandates were in place. I'd like to call up the bravest for choice now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brendan Fogarty, and I just want to thank Joanne Aviola and the Common Sense Caucus that's behind me today. Common sense isn't too common in New York City and America. And Joanne said it best, we need to stop the bleeding. There's people behind me that are still suffering. I'm back to work, but I'm not happy until they're all back to work. Yeah. Kind enough to, not just open her doors to us and listen to our stories, but she opened our hearts and she let us in, and she's been a constant support for us when nobody else would listen. Mayor Adams treated us like garbage. He wouldn't meet with us.
I think he just recovered from COVID for the third time. You know, I have my natural immunity. I have my physical health. And this tested my mental health, my spiritual health this whole time. Being out of a job, it didn't tear my family apart. It only made us strong. You know, and I'm grateful for that. And I have a few more people who would like to say a few words, but I'm not here to judge this Varma guy on what he does on his own time. But he purposely went out to hurt people like myself and my family and make it difficult. Make it difficult for us to live in this city, to exist in this city. That's wrong. It's very simple. And Mayor Adams likes to hide behind his legal department. And he says what he's doing is legal, but I know it's not right. And history will show us that what he did was legal for the time, but it wasn't right. He stepped on our religious liberties, he stepped on all over our human rights, and treated us like garbage. And then he fired the garbage. It's so messed up. And enough out of me. I'm going to bring up Matt Connor. He's the brains of the operation.
This guy's great.
That's going to be Sophie Medina, who's the balls of the operation. All right?
Sure. My name is Matt Connor, M-A-T-T-C-O-N-N-O-R. Brendan's estimation of my abilities is generous, but I appreciate it. And, you know, laughter has been really the only thing that has kept us going. This has been an unbelievably difficult time the last 3 years. I'll remind everyone watching today, almost 3 years ago, we marched 20,000 New Yorkers over that bridge to City Hall to say no to the mandate. It was one of the largest labor demonstrations in New York City's history. And it's part of the untold history of this COVID regime's disastrous policies. You know, this mandate started with a stroke of the pen and it can end with a stroke of the pen. I think that's why what the City Council, Common Sense Caucus, what they're doing is so important, because there is a political solution to end this madness. We have people that worked the pandemic at risk to themselves and their own families, and we didn't ask for anything. We just showed up to work and did our jobs, and that's all we want to do. That's what we still want to do. Yet we still have firefighters and paramedics and EMS workers, EMTs, that are not allowed to work because they took a stand and they stood on their own morals and held their ground. We said 3 years ago we hold the line. In my line of work, we don't leave people behind. People still hold the line. We're here today to back them up and bring an end to this madness. So.
My name is Sophie Medina. I'm a retired firefighter from the New York City Fire Department, and I lost my employment for about 8 months, my husband for about a year, and we went back to work thanks to the efforts of the Common Sense Caucus. Specifically, we had aligned to Joanne Ariola. My own city council member in Brooklyn never reached out to us after we sent countless letters or tried to get in touch with a bunch of city council members. Thank God for Joanne Ariola for taking our call. We've been fighting this for over 2 years, and you guys are just here broadcasting this today because of a salacious tidbit was exposed from what people are calling a right-wing extremist. I'm a registered Democrat, and this happened to me. I haven't voted Democrat for over 10 years because of what I've seen my party doing. This is disgusting. You should all be ashamed of yourself, with the exception of a few that I see here that have been covering this, and it's been the independent media. Shame on the media. Shame on the media. Shame on the media for not going after the truth when we were all unlawfully put out of work.
Cover the truth. Stop being
Shame on the media. Shame on the media for not taking our calls, for not covering the biggest march for civil rights that we the people put together in 4 days when our careers and our right to bodily autonomy was being threatened. Shame on the city council members who aren't here today. There's 51 city council members. There's 14 made up of Democrats and Republicans. So shame on these city council members and try to pit us against each other based on race and sex and socioeconomics that they cause themselves, that their pockets are getting lined. Yes! Woo!
Make this lady mayor.
Where are the unions? Call your unions if your union member and demand them, why aren't they here? Ask them, why aren't they here?
You got to run for mayor.
Public servants answer to us, the people. And that's why these public servants are here for us today. Go out and find your local council member and ask them, where were they when your rights were being violated and continue to be violated? We need a reckoning. These liars need to be held publicly accountable. An apology isn't enough. And an admission of guilt isn't enough. Remember Nuremberg. Remember the French Revolution, because that was we the people. And it doesn't have to get that far, but it's gotten that far. You guys took away so much from us, and you need to pay. Mayor Adams, you could have done the right thing on day one, and you chose not to.
Shame on you.
You walked away and ran away from us when you were confronted by the truth.
Shame on you.
To the public, get involved and get activated. There's more than us, and there are every other politician in here. Vote no on Prop 1 on Election Day. Turn over your ballot. On September 29th, we're going to rescue the Republic in D.C. with a unity party. Be there. Let your voices be heard.
Yes.
We have a republic to rescue. We are the people. We are the fighters.
Yes.
Listen to us. Do not listen to paid celebrities that have something to hide. Thank you.
Yeah!
Another strong voice of reason. Also from Queens, we have Vicky Palladino, the council member.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to begin with thanking Stephen Crowder. And his team. We would not be having this press conference today without them shining a light on what we have long suspected to be fraudulent. Today we are hearing from the people who had their lives turned upside down by the policy of Dr. J. Varma, who forced upon this city working people who didn't deserve any of this. While Dr. Varma was out taking his drugs and having his sex parties, and who gives a damn about what he did, but what he did do, and I want to say thank you to Steve Crowder and his team for bringing to light what we already knew to actually be happening to us. You know, I have my own story. Back in 2001, I hosted a small Christmas party. A lot of you may remember this. I was crowned the Conga COVID Queen because I had a small Christmas party. I was all over the newspaper, internationally, and throughout this country. And I was held accountable, or so they said, during my 21 elections. And I will tell you this, that party took place December 9th, 2020, before Cuomo opened it up in 2019, or closed in 2019 on December 19th. I want to say this, I received death threats the worst ever, that I didn't think such hatred was actually possible. And the restaurant that hosted that party, they were fined thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, and they lost their liquor license.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, Dr. Varma himself was out with his privileged friends, ignoring the draconian rules he forced us all to live under. This has been, I know we've been vindicated, and here we are. I can proudly stand here and say, we were right.
Yes.
And
Yes, we
were. First we were told by Dr. Varma, Dr. Fauci, Randy Weingarten, and the others of the establishment that the school would be too dangerous to attend in person. Our kids were forced to stay home. We were repeatedly lied to, told that remote classrooms were just as good, if not better, than regular classrooms. We were told that the learning loss was a myth. The learning loss was a myth? No, it was not a myth, because our kids today are suffering. They are years behind that we won't even see the repercussions of this for yet decades to come. If we were told even the pre-K and the kindergarten kids, they had to wear masks. All of this was a farce, a farce. And imagine being a young kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, when everything determines what you see and what you hear. And do you realize they didn't see a single human face for a year and a half when they were told to stay home? Meanwhile, our teachers went to work during 2020. They didn't miss a day. They did not miss a day. And they are suffering for it today. Okay, this was all predicated on a lie. And meanwhile, wealthy parents could afford private tutors, keep their kids up to speed. Working class, once again, here you go, middle class families suffered the deep learning loss and lack of social development. Today, the COVID generation is further behind in testing and grade level than any other generation in history. We still don't know what this means and may not know for 20 to 30 years. Meanwhile, our school teachers who were hailed as heroes of the pandemic were told they would lose their jobs if they did not comply with Dr. Varma's vaccine mandate. A vaccine we know did nothing to stop the spread of the infection. Yet we were told it would be our only key to getting our civil rights back. Seriously? No, we weren't breaking any laws. We were violating rules that they made up. There were no laws violated. In my office, I took pride in never asking or requiring mandate compliance in order to work.
Good for you, Vicky.
Two former school teachers working for me right now, my chief of staff and my constituent services liaison, which is Daphne right here. She's been all over the news. Daphne is the single person. She is the unicorn here. She actually won her case. She is able to go back to work. And yet the school will not allow her into her building. This woman worked 29 years. She is 6 months short of her pension. And yet the school, we reached out to the UFT. We reached out to the Department of Education. UFT gave us a bunch of bull. They told her, go. Don't worry, they'll let you in. They did not. She went back to the same school that she taught for 29 years. And the principal, who knows her for all those many years, said to her, Daphne, I'm sorry, I can't let you in the building. She goes to Astoria every day at 7:30 in the morning and does a very small video just to say, I'm here today. I'm here, ready, willing, and able to report to work. And they say, no, thank you, Daphne. Okay? So the law is on our side, we're right, and we have been vindicated over and over again. But unfortunately, the right still is not over. The fight is still not over. We have a lot more work to do, and we have a lot more hypocrisy to overturn. Which is why we were here today to demand an investigation into Dr. Varma and those that were with him. Yes. Because it's time to blacken administration. What we have to do now is call upon the Adams administration to do what is right. We have a shortage of teachers. Guess what? We got 1,800 of them that can get put back to work. We have a shortage of police, the best of the best. They're not there. Rehire them. We got firemen. We're short firemen. We got them right here. Hire them back. I put in legislation because I ran on this in 21. I held town halls. My first few months my goal was to put in not one, not two, not three, but 4 pieces of legislation, which was laughed at. What, are you kidding me, Vicki? Nobody's even going to look at this. And you know what? I reintroduced it again in 23, and I reintroduced it now. There's 4 pieces of legislation sitting there. I did a press conference in March of 22. where I hosted over 450 people at the at Flushing Meadow Park in front of the Unisphere. All of you guys were there. Okay? Now I'm here today on behalf of my teachers because I take this personal. My two employees are teachers, 22 and 29 years. Put these people back to work. Give them what they deserve. A job. Thank you, Michael. Here you go. Michael Payne, Teachers for Choice.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much. God bless Vicky Palladino. She's been fighting for us for a long time. Round of applause for her. Thank you, Vicky. My name is Michael Payne. I was a New York City special education teacher for 14 years until I was fired for declining the COVID shot. I started a group called Teachers for Choice, and we've been suing in federal and state court for 3 years now to get our jobs back. Thanks to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Children's Health Defense, who have been backing those lawsuits. Our federal case is stuck in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals for 20 months, just sitting there. So God bless the Common Sense Caucus for saying, end the appeals. End all the appeals for all the workers who have won. Just like Daphne, a year ago, me and 9 other teachers, we won our jobs back. I went to my school as well too. I had a great conversation with my principal, who was wonderful. But guess what? She couldn't let me in because the city's appealing. That needs to stop. It needs to stop now. I want to talk about one other controversy in this that almost no one has covered, and we need to get to the bottom of what Dr. J. Varma's role was in this, as well as Dr. Chosky and Bill de Blasio. Mandatory COVID testing. Do you remember this? 2020, there was mandatory COVID testing that came in. They forced all employees and children to undergo testing. You couldn't get your own test, you had to use theirs. What was one of the companies that they had contracted? Fulgent Genetics. The LAPD and the FBI have confirmed Fulgent Genetics can data bank your DNA from the COVID swab and have questionable ties to the Chinese government. What role did Dr. J. Varma play in getting that contract? What role did Dr. Chosky play? What role did former Mayor Bill de Blasio play in this? Our freedoms are at stake. The freedom to your own DNA, to your children's DNA is at stake based on who we're electing here. Mayor Adams, Speaker Adams, we must investigate this and get to the bottom of this. The credibility of New York City and the health departments in New York City is on the line, and we need to keep this pressure up. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael Payne. Another big up, another fighter from Brooklyn Councilmember Ina Vernikoff, who will introduce Becky.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Stephen Crowder for uncovering and exposing what we all already knew. Thank you. There are almost 9 million New Yorkers in the city. Most of them were forced to vaccinate. And the majority of them, a lot of them, had medical consequences from having to vaccinate. A lot of them lost their jobs because they had to vaccinate, because they didn't want to vaccinate. We couldn't bury our grandparents. People couldn't attend burials of their own parents. All while one sicko, yes, I said it, one sicko was partying at the same time he was mandating this on all New Yorkers. This is disgusting, below the belt, it must be investigated. And Mayor Adams has a real opportunity here to undo what was done by the former administration under Mayor de Blasio. Reinstate and compensate all those who lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And withdraw the damn appeals.
Yes.
It's enough. I'm going to give a couple of minutes to my communications director, who's going to tell you about her personal story. Thank you very much.
I have audio on Adam, and I send it to Mike. Mike knows about it. I got audio on Adam.
My name is Becky Oliveira. I'm the communications director for Councilwoman Ina Vernikoff. And I stand here to tell you what we've already known intuitively for years. The COVID mandates were always based on lies, and Dr. J. Varma and his elite club of left-wing totalitarian lunatics were laughing behind our backs the entire time. My life was turned upside down by the vaccine mandate. I made the personal medical decision that was right for me, but the psychological warfare that raged on our TV screens made my own friends and family treat me like a diseased mutant. Many wouldn't speak to me. Many wouldn't even touch me. I was rejected from housing, jobs, and volunteer opportunities. I had to fight for months with my college before I was even allowed to step on campus and finish my senior year. And when I finally was allowed, it was with all kinds of illogical conditions aimed at shaming and inconveniencing me, a straight A student with a double major, as much as humanly possible. All of this suffering while beneath my feet, Dr. J. Varma was enjoying sex parties with hundreds of strangers in some Wall Street basement. I can't blame my friends and family for believing what they thought was a trusted source. I blame Dr. Varma for abusing their belief in him and manipulating their fears so effectively that they turned against me. In a more just society, there would be severe consequences for a man this debauched and despicable. The people of this city, everyone standing here today and everyone watching at home, were unwilling subjects to one of the most heinous psychological manipulation campaigns of our generation. Understand this well. These mandates were never about public health. They were always about exercising as much control over us as possible.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
Thousands lost their livelihoods. Thousands were separated from family members during their final moments of life, and thousands still suffer to this day, all for absolutely nothing. Now that the truth has come straight from the COVID czar's mouth, is the city going to compensate New Yorkers for their suffering? And I must ask, will the city compensate me for my own suffering? Dr. Varma, I'm going to speak to you directly now. You owe this city an apology, though we all know you'll never give one. Prepare to be investigated. You were placed in a position of power and should be held to the highest standard possible. And any regular New Yorker who committed fraud on such a scale will be rotting in a jail cell as we speak. The time for elected and unelected bureaucrats alike to run roughshod over our lives is over. We want consequences and we want accountability. Thank you.
Yeah. Great speech.
I want to bring up another strong voice, this time from the Bronx, Councilmember Christy Marmorano.
I'm Councilwoman Christy Marmorano, like you said, in the Northeast Bronx. And like many other New Yorkers, I'm tired of those in power abusing their authority with reckless disregard to the very rules that they impose.
Yes.
So as a former healthcare worker who has worked throughout the pandemic, I am appalled by the do as I say, not as I do attitude from Dr. Varma. It's absolutely disgusting. And as a mother to a young child whose education was halted during the formative years, I'm angry that she's missed out on the proper education that she so well deserved. To see a little 4-year-old going to school for the first time using glasses and having to wear a mask and sitting behind plexiglass was probably one of the most devastating things that I had to see for my child, and it broke my heart. Now, as a neighbor to a family friend, who one of their members took their last dying breath in a hospital, alone, without the comfort of the members of their family beside them, I'm heartbroken for them to have to experience that, and especially what they had to endure. This is years of issues that they will have with this situation. And now, as a councilwoman, I stand here with the Common Sense Caucus to call upon our colleagues in government to ask for them to bring Dr. Varma in for an oversight hearing, to hold him accountable, and to get the answers that us as New Yorkers deserve. So thank you very much, everybody.
We're going back to Brooklyn. My fellow Democrat, Councilman Yeager.
Thank you very much, Councilman Bolton, and my colleagues in the Common Sense Caucus. You know, when my grandmother passed away that year in 2020, over 100 descendants, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, our funeral was just a handful of people at a gravesite because we were told it wasn't safe to be outdoors next to people. That the people who told us it wasn't safe were engaged engaged in all sorts of various other unsafe activities, but they had their fun while they were denying us life. And our community bore the brunt of this. There was an incredible light of derision, of difference, shined on us as we were the violators of the norm, because we wanted to get our kids back into school, because we wanted to worship in synagogues, because we wanted to get back to normal. And we were the poster children in my community for what was wrong with those who would challenge the rules. The rules that we now know were made by one guy in a basement somewhere that he was himself not going to follow. Those rules that we were challenging led me and some of my colleagues in Brooklyn to go to our neighborhood parks with bolt cutters and open those parks up and let the kids back in. To ensure that our schools open up and let the kids back in, because we knew that 8 kids at home on cell phones was not education. We knew they weren't learning. We knew the parents needed to get them back into schools or they were going to go crazy. We knew what was smart, what was right, what was safe, what was healthy needed to be done. And then it was one individual who was making rules that we were violating. So what did he do? He made sure to, this building, craft rules that sent alphabet soup of every single agency, HPD, ABC, you name it, DOB, showing up, knocking on business doors. What's going on here? Oh, you're not 6 feet apart. Summons. All across our neighborhoods. Summons is after summons is after summons. And it's so clear. It's so clear. It's clear then. But now we have the evidence that it was all fake. So you have thousands and thousands of people who have either done what they did not want to do, take a shot that they didn't choose to get, or worse, that they chose not to and lost their jobs. Highly trained, we invested money as a city into their training. Highly trained police officers, firefighters, teachers, every single department has this. People who we paid to train, who took civil service exams, who learned the trade, and who lost their jobs. Maybe we can't go back and change what happened, but we can't change where we are right now. Yes, we can. The people who lost their jobs have to get their jobs back. They must. That's a straight up fairness. The businesses that receive summonses, and by the way, they're not just businesses, they're religious institutions, they're churches, they're synagogues, to the point where some of my colleagues in nonprofit organizations, I see one over here from a nonprofit organization, had to go to the United States Supreme Court to get the justices of the Supreme Court to say you cannot discriminate against people who want to pray together. The rules that were so-called violated that resulted in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in summonses being issued. I introduced the bill, as Vicky said, we do some legislating here. At least we try, but they don't let us, because this building is where common sense goes to die. I introduced the bill in the last session of council, introduction number 1. First bill of the session. And what it said was that anybody who got a summons related to violating the state of emergency rule during COVID, the summons would be dismissed. If they paid it, they'd get their money back. If they didn't, it would go away like nothing ever happened. In other words, let's turn the page. 2019, 20, 21 was a painful time in our nation's history, in the world history, in our city's history. Let's turn the page. Let's stop and let's turn the page. And the same thing goes for our employees. It's time to turn the page. It's time to stop with the grievances of the past where you didn't get the shot in 2020 when they told you to. So now in 2024, you still can't have your job back. The times have changed. The facts are clear. A teacher not getting a shot and going into school is not endangering anybody. Right. A firefighter not getting the shot and going into his firehouse, he's still going to be able to run into that burning building and save your kid. It's time to turn this page. Let folks back to their jobs, right the wrongs of this city. And I'm here and ready to do it. And in a couple of months, I'm going to tell my friends in Albany, help is on the way, because I'm going to go up there and we're going to do that fight. Thank you very much.
A parent and a fighter for our kids, our school kids, from Queens, Yatin Chu.
Thank you, Common Sense Caucus. My name is Yatin Chu. I'm a public school mom and a candidate for state senate in Eastern Queens. The COVID policies that were supposed to be a 2
over 1 million students and their families in New York City. My daughter was in 3rd grade. From the lockdown, where my 9-year-old didn't leave our apartment for over 3 months, to relentless Zoom school, to limited return to in-person due to DOE's unique 8 feet distancing rules, our naturally social children was subjected to silent lunches and closed playgrounds. They took the joy away from being in school. Our kids lost graduations, proms, sports. Instead, they were perpetually on screens, hours on video games and social media. As parents, we went against everything we were told to raise mentally and physically healthy kids. As an immigrant, ESL student myself, I know the importance of being in school, immersing in hearing and speaking a new language. My heart breaks for the thousands of ESL students stuck behind black Zoom boxes with no connection to this new country and no one to help them at home. They missed a critical period of language acquisition that will impact them for the rest of their lives. It is these families in non-English speaking households, the low-income families, and the middle class that will suffer the greatest from these harsh Zoom remote learning policies. The well-documented learning loss and still too high chronic absenteeism that we're still seeing in schools are harsh reminders of New York City's prolonged and cruel COVID policies. Dr. Varma led the policies that made New York City a dark world for our children, all while not believing the risk that he projected to keep all of us in fear. Let us not forget, and let us right these wrongs. Thank you.
And another representing businesses, small businesses, I want to bring up a good friend, Phil Hickey from Maspeth in my district, who I've known for how many years? 20, 30
yes,
years.
Hello, my name is Phil Hickey. I own a small tavern in Queens, New York. Myself and my parents opened up a small tavern in Maspeth, Queens, New York, year 1988. I owned my house outright with no debt, no penny owed to that house before COVID happened. I didn't owe the bank anything. I didn't owe anything, anybody to anything. I was paying my mortgage. I didn't owe a penny to anything. We were a nice little tavern. I don't want to say my mom passed just before COVID. I can't say it would have broke her heart, but since COVID happened, Varna de Blasio shut down my bar for this 3-week curve that would have happened. I was closed for almost 2 years. I was forced to cut a hole in the wall after about a year's time to serve a beer out through a window. I was told that would be enough, people would like it. Of course, I paid my rent on time. It nearly bankrupted me, put me into financial ruin. I paid my rent. I remortgaged my home twice. I now have a 30-year mortgage all over again. I lost my marriage. I'm in financial ruin. My health is deteriorated. I am now. My health is deteriorated. I'm in massive depression. Everything has gone downhill for me. More ways than one. Things are not well. I'm working on a 30-year mortgage all over again. Don't know how I'm going to rebuild. I'm trying. I couldn't give it up because we owned it. When it's a family business, you fight hard to keep it. I try to keep it short. It's really hard to know that somebody could tell you, well, if you just put the arrows this way and you put the arrows that way, your business will work out fine. And I was even cleaning a little stove, trying to clean the business. I would have, I don't know, the the secret police come in and threaten you with $1,000 fines while you're trying to clean a stove behind your bar that your mask isn't on at 10 in the morning, and threaten you with $1,000 fines because your mask is on while you're lying on your back trying to clean a stove. And you have to worry about this while you're struggling to worry about where your next penny is coming from. And you're worried about how you can even feed your family. And everything that a little business can go through when that's worrying how you're going to put food on the table and how you can do this. And you know, I thought I had a lot of words to say, and I'm just running out of them right now. And thank you so much.
Hang in, Phil.
Now, this is unusual, but we're going to bring up Gerald Morgan, who's the executive producer of Louder with Prouder.
Yeah!
Good investigative reporting. Knows no politics. If you're good, you're good. And again, this was exposed thanks to your organization. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And like he said, my name's Gerald Morgan. I'm the CEO of Louder with Prouder, an apparent right-wing news organization. You know what? It doesn't matter what our politics are. We have Democrats behind me. We have Republicans behind me. And we have Jay Varma on tape. And guess what? Nobody asked him if he was a Republican or a Democrat or how he voted before. What we asked is, why were the policies put in place? What did you think about what you were doing? This man is not just a hypocrite. We're all hypocritical to some degree. This man never believed in the mandates to begin with, and yet you have to hear these stories because of what he did, knowing full well that he didn't believe it. You know how I know? He went to sex parties. He went to dance parties. He didn't fly with his family because of optics, not because it was actually dangerous. These stories that you're hearing right now, and everybody in the media, this is not just a New York story. This story got picked up in India. This story got picked up in England. There have been almost 20 million people listening to this story across the United States, and we are not done yet. Woo! We're not done because most people probably don't know that these stories are still happening right now. They probably don't know that in cities across America that looked at the city of New York and said, we will follow their lead, that there are people in San Francisco, in Chicago, in Dallas, in Los Angeles, in Cincinnati that are dealing with the same thing. But guess what? I'm not from any of those places. I'm from Texas, but I'm here to fight for New York. I never thought in all my life that I would have to hear stories like this today. Stories that resonate with me. My wife, pregnant, nursing, 100% remote worker, get the jab or get fired. That's the same kind of story you're hearing here, but guess what? She got to go back to work. These people did not. We cannot allow this story to stop today. This story has to go on, and so guess what? We've got more on Dr. Varma. We have to stay on it. You watching right now have to stay on it. You behind the cameras, you behind the microphones, you taking notes to write articles right now. You have to stay on it. I know these council members are going to stay on it because this is people's lives and it's been messed with far too long. One last thing. Varma put the policy in place. De Blasio instituted it, made sure that the mandates went out. Adams, you're continuing it. I have a question for you. How long? Today's a great day to drop all these cases.
So good.
One last speaker, I want to bring up Joanne Ariola, just to introduce somebody else, but why is the mayor appealing these judges' rulings? Why is he appealing? We have no clue as to why he's doing this. We're calling on him to do the right thing. Again, he's blaming Mayor de Blasio, but he's continuing, like Mr. Morgan just said, he's continuing his policies, de Blasio's policies. So there's no excuse, Mr. Mayor, stop the appeal right now.
Yes.
Joanne, here we are.
Really having patience to listen to everybody because each one of their stories are so unique and they are so important. But we do have Patricia Finn here with us today, and she'd like to read to you an affidavit that Dr. Varma submitted to the courts.
Excuse me. Hey, Gerald. Do you have a business card? Okay, I'll talk to you afterwards. I'll talk to you afterwards.
The press says, I represented this department.
So I represented businesses, and I currently represent the audit department and the EMT. In every one of these cases, Dr. Varma submitted the same affidavit, and I'd like to read that to you. He's talking about
I've been telling everybody he's the only one that tells the truth, Jason.
Thank you. What a press conference. I gotta say, this is huge of Stephen Crowder, Louder with Crowder, and Gerald. What an amazing thing here. Can't really hear her, but I might grab the audio from one of these other feeds later.
Hypocritical in terms of gathering. What does that have to do with your push to drop the appeal? What's the connection between Dr. Varma basically being a hypocrite and dropping the appeal?
Vicky knows that. I could answer. Go ahead.
You want to know the slew of stuff he said undercover? You want to know what got me the most? You should get every single one. Because let me tell you, bringing all this back is like it happened yesterday. This is really refueled a whole lot of anger. And I'm going to tell you what really got me. The fact that that man said on tape, he said we tried to enforce it hard until we could get everybody to break so that we could force them to get this vaccine.
That's right.
It was all about breaking the backs of us, New Yorkers. How far could they go? Look at the tape.
That's
I
right,
may not be
Vicky.
quoting exactly, but when I read that line, and then the final thing was F the people. Look up that tape. You want to connect the dots? Start there.
Yeah.
People died because of him. Another answer is, Dr. according for him. Not for us. People got fined. I got the barber across the street from my office, $1,000. They didn't have the dots on the floor that said 6 feet apart. He said I only had one person in the store at a time. It didn't matter. They kept ticketing something. Every business in my district almost. It was like the COVID police were going around, very strong on it. So you don't see hypocrisy. You don't see this that, you know, I don't know what. There's a bridge right over there.
Hold on, Raul, wait, Marshall Kramer. Marshall Kramer, Raul, stop.
Press only right now.
Yo, Mike, you know about the audio, don't be quiet, Mike. Don't play stupid. Don't play stupid, Mike, you know about the audio.
He's about to get ejected.
I think he's got audio that he caught Adams with.
But he's going to get thrown out like this. He's going to get thrown out like this.
He supposedly got an audio that he gave to Michael.
He's from the taxi driver,
Yeah.
something or other.
Yeah. I don't blame him. They really took advantage of the TLC
He's a
process.
doctor. He can risk it. He has everything. You know, he has a wide open door here to do what he pleases. Again, if people don't see that as just ridiculous, that every one of us, people's lives were destroyed, people's businesses were destroyed, and this guy's partying and taking drugs.
Crazy.
Joanne has an important point. Joanne has an important point about your question.
Who voted for Dr. Varma?
What you think they should do and what questions you want to ask Dr. Varma when you get in front.
Well, again, where did he get these rules from? CDC, where he came from? Because they were changing it, week to week. First week, shouldn't wear masks. I remember sitting in front of the counter. We're not supposed to wear masks. It doesn't do any good. Then we were told we have to wear masks. Then we're told the vaccine is optional. Then we had to get a vaccine. Then if we didn't, we were fired. This is ridiculous. This has to be investigated. All this, are you going to take the word of Dr. Varma? Are you going to really think that he knew best when he was violating everything he was telling us? That's where the hypocrisy. But also, everyone on this level of government, from the feds to the state, everyone should be investigating this and not letting this go, because these are the people that were hurt. They're standing behind us.
Additionally, Dr. Varma says in his own words on that video that there was no difference between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated.
That's right.
There was a natural immunity. And why should he be prosecuted? Because this is a declaration to the United States District Court, Eastern District, where it says, I, J. Varma, MD, declare that under penalty of perjury, the following. He perjured himself by signing this affidavit. And that alone should make this administration right the wrong, drop their appeals, and get our municipal workers back to work.
Yes.
And so that they can be reinstated and compensated.
Well done. Well done.
Any other questions? Can't hear you.
Is there anything that you're proposing for workers in the private sector who lost their jobs?
Well, again, this is all, that's why things need to be investigated, because the private sector needs to be represented here, and not just the public. So the private sector, once they get him on the stand and get him before a congressional panel, we won't know a lot of things, but this needs to be brought out, and that's why, so many lawsuits will come out. That's why they want to suppress this. Press, credential press.
I'm a fired city worker, and I just have a question.
No, you got to take from the press first. From the press first. I can't make different rules.
I'm going to wait my turn.
All right. Any more press?
Thank you.
Any more press? All right, go ahead.
I got a John Lee. Christopher Leon Johnson, independent media. Where is Lynn Shulman on this? Why is Lynn Shulman?
I can't. The people that are standing here were everybody was invited. People people that are standing here care. I can't speak for other council members. Now you got your opportunity.
Saying hi to some people. So, City Council has their powers bestowed upon to them from the city charter, correct? And your jobs and your duties are in the city charter, right? So, right now we have people here that are standing together. They want to get their jobs back, right? It's been 3 years since I was fired. It took 3 years for me to get another job, part-time. I will never go back to the DOE because it's a fraudulent agency. And I know some teachers and parents here feel the same way as most agencies in New York City. The question that I have is, since 2020, the mandates were established and there had to be some kind of agreement, some kind of yay or nay that said this was something good to have. Who in City Council found in a document that they had the promulgated authority to establish mandates in this city? Because City Council is supposed to stand up for the counties and the districts of this city, and they did not since 2020. And here we are in 2024. It took 2 years. Last time I was standing here on these steps and I spoke to press, it took 2 years now to move something forward, and I read the document. And it's flawed, unfortunately. And I hate to bring it out like this. You gotta read those documents and look it over. I read and write documents for a living now. We submit documents and we hold public servants accountable, like how we have Adams in Supreme Court right now for violating his oath of office to the United States Constitution, the New York State Constitution, and the City Charter. I wanna know who gave anyone in City Council the authority to enforce it, not write it, because you all have the power to write whatever you want. Who enforced it and why? Who gave these agencies, DOH, DOE, Department of Sanitation, the Fire Department, the NYPD, who, by the way, arrested me twice for not being vaccinated? Who gave you guys the authority to do it?
That was de Blasio.
Who gave the authority?
That was before.
The mayor.
That was the mayor.
And City Council did nothing.
No.
Why?
Well, I wasn't in office at that time.
Okay.
I'm next. Mr. Holden, I have an audio.
I still have to question the why. It's still there.
Hold on a second.
You got a question?
I have a small
Because we
comment.
need questions, not.
I have a comment. A small comment. When the mayor was Brooklyn Borough president, he was letting his people, his staff, get tested while everybody else was getting vaccinated or losing their job. And we have the audio to prove it. Last year, 2022, hold on a second. 2020, hold on a second. 2022, I gave testimony and it was being ignored. Like you're doing now. It was ignored.
It's starting to get a little wacky.
We have audio from his office when he was Brooklyn Borough president, and now they're ignoring it. See? And now that's what we call bullshit. When you do shit like that, that's what we call bullshit. That's straight up bullshit. You don't want to. You want to pretend you can't hear.
Looks like it's over now.
This was a long time ago. It was over a year ago. Let me listen to it. I don't remember the audio. Just update us.
You know what the audio's about. We want you to speak.
Well, it's quite a press conference. I hope people could hear that. I should have brought the shotgun mic. But people can get the audio from some of these other feeds, and maybe I'll listen to it when I get back, and if there's anything I can do to improve the audio.
Let them know. Talk to Holden. Talk to Holden.
People are getting crazy now.
Talk to Holden.
We don't know.
Jason, we caught this guy right here.
We don't know if she lost the
That's
job or
Michael
not.
Caine.
How are you doing? Jay Goodman, it's good to see you.
Good press conference, Michael.
Fulgent Janalis came up and I was
I
like,
like it.
Jay's
I like
here.
it. I like
One
it.
of the only
Ask
people that
ask him
covered
about the
it.
audio in the meeting we had in Queens. Ask him about that.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you, ask him. Ask him
No,
about
we
that
had
audio.
a meeting. It was interesting audio about a
It
woman
wasn't
that might have been
interesting.
getting pay to play from Adams.
Well, I
But
mean,
it
that's
was
going
kinda
on all over the place.
But it was kind
Every
of
day,
unclear.
another
We have the
city
audio.
person is getting investigated by the
It's like
feds.
unbelievable.
It's not unclear. It's Denise
So
Phillip
hang
Adams.
on
Denise
just one quick
Phillip
second.
Adams.
The new commissioner who's in for a week all of a sudden got
Investigated again,
ratings
but he
too.
was DHS and FBI. He might have to leave today. So you guys have been jammed up in the Second Circuit for 20 months.
Yes.
This is how they do it.
It is,
When they
yeah.
don't like the case, they just sit on it for 2 years and then,
We have two liberal justices and one conservative, and the conservative clearly made clear to us he's in a dissent. So we don't know what goes on in the court, but I think they can't figure out how to rule against us without a good dissent that we could launch off to the Supreme Court of the United States. What's up, brother? Thanks
Well,
so
you
much.
got Robert
Thanks for
Kennedy
coming.
with you. He's a very smart lawyer. It's good to see you, Michael.
It's good to see you
We
too,
should be
Jason.
back in
Yeah.
touch if we want
Yeah,
to
let's
do
do
something.
it. Let's do it. Let's talk. The Fulgent Genetics thread.
It's a big story.
It's a big story.
It is a
You,
big
Gary
story.
Knoll covered almost nobody else, and we should talk about it again for sure.
We will. Take
Yes.
care, Michael. Good to see you.
Take care, Jim.
Good job.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you.
Really good press conference.
Oh,
Really
thank you.
good. Congratulations. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
I know you guys are super busy. I've got a story I'd love to share with you. I have a card. I have a right to know lawsuit going against the Beaver County District Attorney where the Trump assassination attempt occurred. They sent me unredacted documents. I've spoken to the drone operator.
I'll take your phone number.
Yeah. But I'm on camera right here. Let me just type it in for you somewhere.
What's your first name?
Jason Goodman.
Let's call it.
Thanks very much. What was your name?
My name's Mike.
Mike.
Yep.
Thanks. All right, we're going to get that story to Steven Crowder. That was an exciting press conference. Really great job, Steven Crowder and the whole crew from Louder with Crowder. Apologize, everybody. I should have brought that other microphone. I just didn't know what to expect. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to let me in. Look, there's Eric Adams. Mach-E Mustang GT. I guess it's not his. It's probably just some security person. He's going to drive a Rolls Royce or something, right? Well, let's see. I mean, I haven't even looked at the... Thank you very much. Have a good day. Appreciate you. There we go. Finally, cops being courteous. Unbelievable. Wow. That was, something's just changed there. I gotta say, I can't say enough good things about Steven Crowder now. That was huge. I think they're right. This is gonna inspire people. Could people hear that? I hope so. You don't know, did he? Well, I mean, isn't that interesting though, that this guy, Varma, what's his name? Jay Varma, he's having sex parties. What the hell is all with the sex parties? Is he freaking off? Recording people there? Oh, wow, okay, so people could hear it, good. All right, well, gee, I feel great right now. That was like the first positive thing to happen around City Hall in maybe, I don't know, 4 years. Look at that, we need somebody from Texas to come straighten out New York. You know what, damn it, Steven Crowder, put 3 guns on your desk. Stop down at one more stop, I don't mind. God bless Steven Crowder. That is fantastic. And then this artist guy has a whole setup here. I've seen him a number of times. That was so good.
Good work, man.
Thank you.
God bless you, man.
Thank you. Take care. My God, what a wonderful day. I was worried it was going to rain there for a minute because it was starting to rain. Yeah, faint a little bit. I know, Brian, I'm sorry. I should have had the reason I didn't bring the shotgun, I didn't even think they were going to let me in. I didn't think I was going to get anywhere near where the actual press conference was going because remember, the cops don't want to give me the press pass. But yeah, I mean, City Hall, I don't understand why they treat it like a fort like that. You should be able to go in there. I mean, like you can go into the court and whatever, but they don't let you. And it was funny, somebody said something about Eric Adams has to be on the right side of history. Too late for that. Eric Adams is going to be lucky if he could stay on the right side of a prison cell. Starting to look maybe too late for that also. It's been kind of a long live stream. should we walk and talk, or should I just take the subway back? It's a little cold, too. Summer is definitely over. Make New York great again, exactly. What did people think? And also, look, no maniacs. Isn't that interesting? The maniacs did not control that press conference. No Oren Levi. Nobody trying to beat me up. That was pretty awesome. I gotta say, I'm a big Steven Crowder fan as a result of that. So well done. Yes. So, yeah, we still have Palmer Luckey to deal with. I don't know if I want to pollute this excellent live stream talking about that, but if people haven't been looking at X, I recommend it. There's a lot of stuff going down on X, and you can follow me there at JG_CSTT. That's wonderful that that producer from Crowder has my phone number now, so I'll send them the information about the Beaver County District Attorney's Office, and maybe Crowder will start reporting on that. I need somebody big like that with $1 million on the account. He's like 3 million, I think. He's obviously, this is going to explode louder with Crowder as well. I mean, this is as good of a news expose that anybody has ever done. 60 Minutes or name the thing. Listen to what those people in city government were saying, that this was fake, that they now know that the unvaccinated and the vaccinated, the doctor said it was no difference. They've got him on a document committing perjury. I hope that guy goes to jail, Jay Varma. This is not a, oh, whoops, I'm sorry. What about that guy with the bar who got divorced? It seems to ruin that guy's life. And Jay Varma is doing MDMA and having sex at the club. I can't even think of a punishment suitable for that guy. Honestly, jail for the rest of his life, it's almost not even enough. There's nothing that could be done to that guy that would bring it back. That's good that Michael Caine has his lawsuit moving forward. He and I had a disagreement because they had a Black Lives Matter person speaking at some event. And that, I think they've moved away from those guys now because maybe I was a little early with the whole, it's a scam. And I get it that there were people who wanted to reach across the aisle or whatever and have allies. Don't like it that we have the army walking around New York City. We still don't know what's going on with the Walcott Hotel and the 14th Precinct. I got a lot of batteries getting low here. This has been a pretty long live stream. But let's go to the comments and see what people think.
Okay, I'll meet you at 9
Where's the news on Varma? What do you mean? We were just over there at the press conference. You mean the mainstream news is not talking about him? I think I saw it. They've got it in the Post. New York Post had it. CBS had it too. CBS was there. We saw their microphone up on the podium. You had all the major news there. Tactical bellhops, exactly. Well, somebody now had another hotel or migrant thing, or there's a lot of people having stories on this now where somebody said these people were getting paid 3,000 pesos a week or something like that. And yeah, I mean, talking about how they're basically installing a fifth column. And then there was video I saw last night of a crazy street takeover in Philadelphia. Now I think I got to go over here because I think there's a radio interference zone over there. But street takeover, and actually I saw a video of a street takeover in Times Square. a few days ago. That sounds incredibly dangerous, like you're going to get hit by a car quite easily. I don't think you want to hang out at those street takeovers. It seems part of the point of it is that when the people are doing donuts, you, if you're a moron, have to get as close to the rear end of the donut as possible and get smacked by the car and go flying. It's like an instant hospital trip or death. I don't recommend that at all, but I do see a lot of people doing that. Look at this. It's a wreck over here. Yeah, the hotel has a lot of suspicious stuff going on mainstream, right? Mainstream news not really talking about too much. Well, the hotel, the real problem is that whole nonprofit, basically that guy getting paid $656,000. There's more on that story actually, because was it that guy's mother or grandmother? We're talking about Richard Izquierdo Arroyo. Somebody related to him, I have the notes back at the apartment, but was like a city politician. That's really the big story. That hotel is just a piece of it. It's that Eric Adams administration and everybody around him. It's actually the historically like most corrupt, maybe any city in the United States. But the fact that he's up to the 3rd police commissioner already, that's a record. There was Jimmy Walker. They were just saying this morning on New York's Finest Unfiltered podcast. I recommend that. Those guys know a lot about the cops. They're retired cops. See, and that's the thing. Even they say what I'm saying, that the cops right now, they're not doing anything. And back in the day, like, see, those cops who let me into City Hall, that was nice. They knew I didn't pose a threat to anybody. And even if I don't have the press pass, somewhere that guy knows you can't, the cops can't control the First Amendment. The press pass should not be a thing, or if it is, it should just be like, hey, I want one, and they give it to you. So now you just show up and they know who you are in case something happens. I would be willing to do that, but there's so many rules by which they can decide to not give it to you. No, covert investigating on the hotel is a bad idea, Big Easy. They already want to kill me over there. I'm not worried about the cops. I'm worried about the Tren de Aragua that has me on video. I thought about going back over there, but it's really sort of inviting catastrophe. And I think there's more important things for me to do in terms of suing the cops in Pennsylvania. And now also Palmer Luckey. So I'll talk about that not in terms of the beef with Palmer Luckey. I'm not trying to sue him to get money. Other people with hidden cameras, right, too well known, right. You see how many people over there just knew who I was from watching the show. But it's not about suing Palmer to get money because he's defaming me like crazy, which he is. I want to know what the hell is going on with the Anduril drones, and if we can get him into a deposition, start asking him some questions about some of the dumb stuff he was saying. By the way, if I do get money, I don't think I'd get it in orange, but I would probably get at least one Raptor and one C8 Corvette. Gotta get if I was gonna get one, it'd be a Z06 70th anniversary, but that was 2023. So you have to get a pre-owned one, and I would want it in silver with the blue racing stripe, and if somebody hasn't already gotten that and wanting to sell it, I might be out of luck. But that's not the point. He's saying all kinds of things. I think it's Anduril drones flying there. And again, if you're not on X, that's where really most of the discussion is happening about this. The drones, and so people are, finding these drones all over other videos. And I know I've said a lot of bad things about Unsteady Dave. I don't take any of those things back. The guy has really been irresponsible by not sharing the video. And I think people need to understand, this is not like, some argument between YouTube people. This guy's a witness to a crime. And he's like, oh no, I'd rather make money from a documentary. Dude, you can't do that. I mean, maybe legally you can, but morally you cannot. I don't even think legally he can. The problem is, if he doesn't want to cooperate, whatever it is he has to do legally becomes a challenge. Like Michael Caine was just saying, you know, these guys can lock up your case in court for 2 years if that's what they want to do. There need to be rules against that as well. Too much discretion and latitude for judges to do whatever the hell they want. They're not supposed to be able to do that. They have to adhere to the law. And I think over the years, Larry Klayman used to tell us this. I'm understanding it a little bit better firsthand now. But these judges, they just do whatever they want, and they can, you know, set precedents in their own cases that then other people have all kinds of messed up cases that take advantage of as well. Got a little bit of sketchiness going on right there. What are these dudes doing? I hope they don't have any stupid ideas. Looks like they got a lot of stupid ideas. Let's keep an eye on these guys. NYPD Community Affairs. Yeah, I don't want to go into too many details about Palmer Luckey because that's just getting underway. I was just asking the guy questions. He jumped to a lot of weird conclusions, and frankly, his own behavior is the most suspicious aspect. If he had said nothing, that would have seemed normal, but the fact that a super billionaire like that cares what I'm saying, it makes very little sense to me, unless what I'm saying is a threat to him. I'm just looking at the comments here, and a Jimmy Dore video showed up. He's pushing the stupidity that the cops shot people over a $2.90 fare evasion. That's not what it was. It was a guy getting on the subway with a knife, basically taunting the cops. It almost seems like a setup. A lot of people have been asking the question, like, how do you convince Max Urich, or you know, anybody for that matter, to get up on the roof where they're going to get shot? I don't know the answer to that. It's interesting to contemplate. I have to imagine it's a trick where you don't tell the person, okay, look, you're going to get shot. You tell them, here's how we're going to prevent you from getting shot, and then 2 seconds in, it's like, oh, well, that didn't work. Same thing with the guy with the knife. Maybe somebody said, well, you know, convince him to go down to the subway with a knife, taunt the cops, you're going to be a hero. Nobody's going to do anything on the subway in terms of the cops. And here we still have people who want to destroy Ukraine or keep sending money and weapons there until it gets destroyed. Did people see Putin had a speech where he's like, hey, I'm speaking to the people of these Western countries, where your government is like trying to get us into war. It's really amazing how reserved Putin is. I mean, he obviously understands what's at stake. They really don't want nuclear war because it's going to mean everybody's going to die. And idiots in our government, they don't seem to mind. Or actually, did I see something that said that the Starlink satellite network has some ability to disable nuclear missiles in some phase of flight? That would be interesting if they had that. Quite a risk, though. What if it doesn't work? They haven't tested that, I don't think. I wouldn't really feel too comfortable betting everything. Like, hit the button and like, oh, the missiles are still coming. Didn't work. But excellent press conference there. I guess we'll have to see what happens now. Dr. Varma, somebody's got to prosecute that guy. And then people were angry at the end. That woman was talking about the Department of Education. A lot of people are angry at the Department of Education.
So we're heading towards...
Yeah, Putin does understand that we're held hostage. I think he, look, I mean, he also seems to have concern for the fact that Russia launching nuclear weapons will kill millions and millions of people here. Nothing he ever says or does aligns with this rhetoric that he's a crazy person who just wants to kill everybody and take over the world. People who watch Crowdsource the Truth know that already, I guess. You're saying it also shows the FBI agent coming through the fence in different order than other videos. What do you mean, Big Easy? Unsteady Dave's video was shot at a different date and they tried to make it see. Well, see, I don't know about that. That's interesting that you're saying that, but that is why I don't like or trust Unsteady Dave's. See, thank you for reminding me of that. I really don't want to look at much of anything in Unsteady Dave's video because they could load it up with crap and make us think it's something and then later say, this is fake and you were looking at it and so everything you're looking at is fake. That's what I mean. Unsteady Dave's video on a scale of evidence gets honestly about a 0. You might as well, go look at a Mickey Mouse cartoon and think that it's evidence of something other than somebody drew that. But that is the problem. You just hit on it there. I don't even need to check if what that person said is true or false. It just reminded me that that is a possibility. And when Dave, see, some people are saying, go easy on Dave and leave him alone or whatever. I agree with that. Nobody should do anything to Unsteady Dave. Nobody should ever do anything to anybody that I speak about. Nothing I ever say is a call to action apart from asking people to sponsor the show at odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, because nobody should do anything. I'm just telling Dave, hoping that he sees the message, that he's got to do the right thing. People have been killed. Corey Comparatori was killed. People were shot. This is a crime. It's not like releasing some, like I went to Thailand with Cullen and shot video, and we didn't know each other that well at the time. He's like, send me all the video. And I was like, dude, I don't do that. You're asking me for the negatives. And then ultimately, it took longer than we anticipated, but the 5-year anniversary, it was ultimately a great video. So you just, that's different. It wasn't like Cullen and I in Thailand talking about Vegas and just everything we were talking about in that video. It wasn't like anybody's life or the outcome of a crime depended on that. But here with Unsteady Dave, if his video is not altered, and see, it also rings true what that person just said, that it was shot on a different day. Absolutely, it could be. And we know, well, we don't yet know, but I've alleged in the lawsuit against the Beaver County ESU, the district attorney's office, I've alleged in there that they've altered evidence. So the notion that they would shoot pieces of video to put out in the public domain to confuse people, that rings true. And it would be easy to do. Around strikes me this day or a few days before. Here's we might have just lost the broadcast. Did I lose everybody? Walking through Soho. Let's see. I hope not. But it's absolutely, that person who made the comment is exactly onto what I'm talking about with regard to how Unsteady Dave could trick people. People are concerned about the future of garbage. Oh, guess where we are right now? This will tell me if we've maintained the broadcast, because we're at Hunter Biden's art gallery. Just came back. Okay, good. Hopefully. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the next door. This is it. He's still in business. I don't know if they're still doing Hunter Biden business, but that's George Berger Art Gallery. Yeah, but I do suspect that Unsteady Dave is involved in some chicanery. And that's why he didn't want to give the original video. Not that he's trying to make money from a documentary. That didn't make sense. When people tell me things that don't make sense, and then I ask them more questions about it, and their responses make less sense, I mean, this is how you can detect that somebody is lying to you. Again, that doesn't really work in court, but it's the kind of thing that gives you a hunch, and you can go looking for more evidence. Like, in other words, I've got a hunch. Well, the name spelled wrong on the fire jacket, they said that that was because that happened at the fire department and he just left it. I could believe that. Somebody is submitting the order to the fire department jacket company. If they spelled his name wrong, that's how it's going to be. And how much does a fire department jacket cost? Maybe they just decided, well, whatever, we know it's your jacket and we don't have the budget to change it. I don't know, maybe it was a joke. It's funny, sometimes things like that happen. Nobody ever would have thought that individual would become historic in the unfortunate way that he did. So maybe that's a legitimate typo on the jacket. Yeah, right, exactly. Nate says it was confirmed. That's what I'm saying. I saw it hanging in the fire station and it was misspelled because that was the first thing they said. They were blaming Trump. That was when they were still saying that Trump staged it, which is a very stupid thing to me to say because people tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist for giving people very complicated explanations for things based on science and physics and known technologies that, even though it sounds fantastic, certainly explains the things. I mean, I'm thinking about some of the explanations from 9/11, you know, particularly we talk about the Pentagon. I'm going all over the place today, but it was a really wonderful press conference. I like it that so many of the city council members who spoke actually directly thanked Steven Crowder. He deserves the thanks, as does Gerald, and everybody who participated in doing that investigation. I don't know Steven Crowder, and you know, obviously he's had, you know, smear campaigns on him. Everybody does. Anybody who is in independent media reporting on things they don't want you talking about, and particularly when you're effective, they try to do that. So whatever, I don't care about past smear campaigns. I like the guy. Oh, now it seems like it's going to rain again. I like it that he did this. He might have just changed the course of many people's lives. I mean, that's effective journalism. Think about what the New York Times is doing. Rachel Maddow, Charles sent me a story where Rachel Maddow made some documentary with Lev Parnas. Do people know who that dunce is? I interviewed him. Lev Parnas, in his own words. You can still see that on Twitter. It's hard to find older thing, or an X. It's hard to find older things on there, but you can still use the advanced search feature. They don't really advertise that too much. I think a lot of people don't even know it exists, but you can use Twitter advanced search, X advanced search, whatever you want to call it, to search by date and certain specific words. So if you search for posts from @JG_CSTT with Parnas, Parnas, you can see that. But I also just reposted it maybe this morning in response to Charles. And I kind of nabbed him in the way that I like to when I get a lying loser on the phone, because he had like dozens of companies that he had started, and he tries to say, oh, well, I'm a businessman, you know, that's normal. I said, really, dude, you're my age. He literally is like my same age, maybe 2 months older. And I've kind of started a lot of businesses for somebody my age, maybe not a lot, more than some people, fewer than others. I've been involved in maybe like 4 or 5 startups. And to me, it seems like kind of a lot. This guy had dozens of companies. It just seems crazy. It doesn't seem like you could make that work from a business standpoint. I mean, with me, there's a progression to when they happen, and one opened and one closed, and some of them work together, like the helicopter thing and the 3D company worked together. those existed at the same time. He's got all these different companies that don't seem to make any sense, and then one of them was a nonprofit. And when I asked him some pretty direct questions about it, again, his answers were stupid. And then when you drive in on those, the answers get stupider and stupider. Starts to feel like he's lying. And I think he was. And then he just got really upset and hung up the phone, called me a jackass or something. So that doesn't really speak to his credibility too much. Oh my God, that woman is eating smoked salmon out of the plastic in the middle of the park. I don't know if I would do that. Kind of weird. But welcome to the second day of autumn in the park. Still nice. Not quite as sunny and beautiful as it was the past 2 days, but soon the leaves will fall. I hope that we don't get a lot of maniac activity. I could do without that. This guy's shooting Super 8. NYU film, I guess. Kodak tried to come out with a Super 8 camera with like digital sound. Remember, I saw it and I was like, what the hell are you thinking about? Who's gonna want this? And it was a lot of money. I mean, if they made it that the camera was like $100 and then you're making money on the film, that might make sense to have it be kind of like a fun toy for people who want the aesthetic. But they did this weird combination of like a digital viewfinder and digital audio and some way to like sync up the picture to the SD. I was like, this is like the world's tallest midget. What are you gonna do with this? Who wants this? And sure enough, nobody bought it. And it was like $5,000. It was idiotic. But I was also thinking about the Apple 3D headset, because you know, Palmer Luckey with his Oculus Rift. I kind of just don't believe anything about that product. I mean, obviously, Facebook and Zuckerberg are having their Quest, you know, it's become a product line, but I don't know, is that even really successful for them? Maybe it is, they sell them. I have one, I barely ever used it. With all of those things, I mean, even me, I'm kind of super into 3D. It's just can't, long-term use, it just gets annoying having it on your face. It becomes sweaty and hot. It's too big and heavy. And even the best ones, just still not that good. So I don't understand why they gave Palmer Luckey $2 billion for that. And now we've got all these drones. So a guy named John, I'm forgetting his last name right now, he had done a little bit of a study on the Unsteady Dave video. And again, without the original files, we just don't know how that's been manipulated. The number one way it could easily be manipulated is the audio. The audio sounded weird to me. And remember, John Cullen was looking for suppressed gunfire. So if the audio has been manipulated to the extent that you can't Oculus grift, I like that. If the audio has been manipulated to get us to just calculate it incorrectly, that could easily be done. Same with the video. I don't know that they would want to insert pictures that look uniquely like and travel at speeds that are uniquely similar to the Anduril drones. Tim still has a BLU 5000S. Well, that's true. I don't know if it's great for animation. Is that pin registered? Maybe it is. Even 16 for animation. I mean, why would you want that today? You could do it so easily with a computer and even with an iPhone or any digital camera and have super duper high resolution, great looking stuff. I mean, really the only reason you would want to shoot film on 8mm, even 35, is just to have that look. But I mean, 8mm obviously is a very specific look. There's that singer Dasha, who has that great song about Austin. Her video is shot on 8mm, but I don't even know if it is. It almost looks like it's just shot on any regular thing and then apply a filter to make it look like it's shot on 8mm. That's like, it's like saying, no man, I gotta have a horse and buggy. It's more expensive than a car. The horse is sometimes not wanting to walk, but I gotta have it. Why do you want that garbage? I'm not nostalgic about film at all. And that's like that guy Wally Pfister I was talking about the other day. People who want to deal with legacy technology. Makes no sense to me. And make no mistake, film is technology. It's not like you're trying to get back to nature or something. You're just married to a bad, inferior, old technology. I'm not with that. So VarmaGate, let's see what Varma says. That was a lot of teeth to that. That dude is definitely in trouble. Will Eric Adams do anything, though? Or who is it on to do something? I guess Letitia James, right? She's not going to do anything because she's part of it. So it's interesting that this guy came in. He was, de Blasio's guy. So Eric Adams will undoubtedly use that to sort of say, it's not my fault or something. But where's Letitia James on this? And we haven't yet had any kind of official implication of Letitia James in this expanding New York City government scandal that appears to have almost no end. But she was hanging out at Con Sofrito, the restaurant owned by, the first police commissioner, Edward, what's his name? Edward Caban. His brother owns Con Sofrito, and there were articles in the Daily News and other things saying that all these New York politicos are hanging out at the restaurant. So it seems to be where all these maybe off-record decisions are being made. Maybe they decided this guy's gonna have his sex parties and decide to do the COVID policy over at that restaurant. Or, I'm not saying that happened. I don't have any evidence that happened, but it sort of seems like some headquarters for criminal scheming. And there's a lot about this that we don't yet know because, so the arrest of P. Diddy, remember, that happened like the day after Tom Donlin became the new police commissioner. And Donlin was DHS and FBI in his career. And DHS raided Diddy in Miami. So I don't know, but I'm wondering, is there some kind of internal war between DHS and FBI? Because when Donlin released his statement on Friday or Saturday, whenever he released that, he just said federal agents. Is this a T-Rex? I don't think so. Rebel. I don't know that one. But he just released a statement that said federal agents. He didn't say if it was DHS or FBI. It's an interesting part of the mystery. I mean, we don't yet really know exactly what's going on or who did this or why. But my question is, what if DHS is trying to arrest P. Diddy and FBI is trying to protect P. Diddy? I mean, I don't particularly have any reason to trust DHS, but it's weird. And I mean, Donlin gets investigated right away. Has he stepped down or anything? What's going on? Hillary, Mr. Bill mashup? Yeah, right, exactly. See that? I just did that with an iPhone, right? How did I do that? Oh, I think I had the video feed from the iPhone going to the computer, and then I was just capturing the frames on the computer to not move the iPhone as I was animating the thing. There wasn't that much animation in that, actually. If you go back and watch it again, there are select little bits of animation, but I'm mostly just using that clay character sitting there at different focal lengths, and when Charles is talking, he's overlaid and she's just maybe typing with the hands. It's pretty simple animation in there. I tried to make that as easy to do as possible, but I agree, that was quite effective. Charles loved that, and he had all kinds of ideas for additional animations, but Charles is very practical, and he appreciates the fact that, that took days and days to do and got really no more views than a video like this, which takes 2 hours to do and is much more informative. So it's hard for me to do a lot of creative animations like that. Also, remember I had the AI version of myself and the various Crowdsource the Truth co-hosts that could be animated, but it's all a lot of work, and I don't know that the Crowdsource the Truth audience really wants to see large amounts of funny animation versus actual information about government corruption and crimes. So I want to find out more about what's going on with Caban. The New York's Finest Unfiltered this morning were discussing that basically the guy has to step down because the last guy stepped down as a result of coming under federal investigation. So why wouldn't Caban? I mean, why wouldn't Donlan? Caban already stepped down for being under investigation. But then again, Eric Adams is also under investigation. That's incredible how quickly they built that. That was a pizza place. And now it's going to be... They're kind of doing this all over down here, crushing these small junky buildings and building huge fancy apartment buildings that I guess, you know, after we're all nuked or broke or both, they'll sell those to somebody, I guess.
Well, not healthy, but on the healthy side.
I think I'm running out of stuff to say, and this has been a 2-hour live stream, so I think I'm going to end it here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to become a sponsor if you aren't already. Odyssey is the most economical way to do it for you and for me. Odyssey is its own self-contained video host, which is actually great for a number of reasons. You know, something that I forgot to mention, and they've been pretty good about this lately, but in the past, Vimeo has taken down videos. Remember, and you know what? It was right around the election. That's interesting. So last time, 2020, remember, just as the election was happening, they had that guy, Alan Parot, who was a falconer. That was just weird, because his name was spelled Parrot, but he was a falconer, and he was claiming to have hung out with Osama bin Laden, and that girl, Anna Kate, had something to do with it. And that was when I was still doing shows with Mike Moore. We basically busted that nonsense right away, and Vimeo shut the video down for busting the nonsense. So Vimeo feeds all the other sponsor-exclusive channels except for Odyssey. Odyssey is its own self-contained, small tech thing, decentralized, censorship-resistant. So if you aren't already a sponsor, get over to Odyssey. It's only $3 a month plus a 58-cent Odyssey fee. People can also go on to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Huge thank you to everybody sponsoring the show. I wouldn't be able to do this and all these different right-to-know lawsuits and everything without the support and sponsorship of you generous viewers. So thanks, everybody. I hope people enjoyed the press conference. Huge thank you to Steven Crowder and the Louder with Crowder crew. Great job. VarmaGate.